This was the second time Marcus had proposed to me in the 8 years we'd been together. The night before our engagement party, Eleanor reappeared after a year's absence. She stood downstairs, sobbing in Marcus's arms. "Marcus, I'm so sad." The next day, Marcus was nowhere to be found. Everyone was waiting to laugh at my misfortune. I threw the ring, flipped the table, and left without looking back. Everyone thought I was just throwing another tantrum. When returned, he merely sneered, "Let her fuss. In a few days, she'll come crying to apologize to me." Days turned into weeks, and he still heard nothing from me. When finally tried to reach out, he found I had blocked all his contact information. Later, he saw me on a dating reality show, looking close and affectionate with a handsome lawyer. Marcus used his connections to barge into a show activity. He arrived just in time to see Daniel kneeling on one knee, proposing to me. Daniel placed a diamond ring on my finger and made a promise. "I will cherish you for the rest of my life." Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. I didn't understand. Why did Eleanor always appear after Marcus proposed to me? And why did Marcus always abandon me? I stood alone in the middle of the banquet hall. Whispers, loud and soft, drifted around me. Why is Marcus missing again? This engagement party isn't going to fall through again, is it? I think Grace should just go through with this engagement party by herself. This happens time and again. If makes another call, it'll just be a repeat performance. It's quite rare for an engagement party to be missing the groom, but if there's no groom for the wedding later, that would truly be a strange tale. You know what, Marcus is fully capable of doing that. The power of one call from Eleanor, no one, not even God himself, could sway him. I couldn't retort. They were right. Last night, Eleanor had clung to Marcus downstairs, sobbing softly. Tears welled in her eyes, her nose red, her voice plaintive. "Marcus, I'm so sad." Her weeping was absolutely heartbreaking. Marcus held her in his arms. "It's okay, I'm here." Eleanor cried for a long time until her eyes were swollen. Marcus tenderly stroked her swollen eyes. "Don't ever cry for him again." Eleanor didn't speak, but looked up toward the second-floor balcony. Her voice wasn't loud, yet in the silent night, it reached my ears precisely. "Marcus, am I causing you trouble again?" Marcus followed her gaze, his face darkening. "Go back inside." I stood still. He then looked at Eleanor, gently stroking her hair. "You'll never be trouble for me. Whenever you need me, I'll be there." Marcus certainly kept his word. Over the years, no matter what he was busy with, if Eleanor called, he would drop everything and go to her side. It was true when I was hospitalized. It was true when he first proposed. On the day of that engagement party, he was nowhere to be seen all day. I dismissed the guests alone, bringing the ill-fated banquet to an end. When returned, his only explanation was, Eleanor was hospitalized. Because of Eleanor, we had countless arguments. Don't use your dirty thoughts to speculate about my relationship with her. We are more important to each other than family. Marcus looked at me and said, "As long as it doesn't affect Eleanor, I can give you anything you want." I looked at the mocking glances of the people in front of me. With a sharp bang, I threw the ring. Everyone paused, stunned. Before they could recover, the next second I grabbed the tablecloth and flipped the entire table. Plates and food flew everywhere. Some smashed onto the floor, others splattered onto people. Watching the panic on their faces, I felt a surge of exhilaration for the first time. Back home, I received a message from Marcus. He sent a design sketch of a ring. The signature at the bottom belonged to a renowned domestic designer, who was also his childhood friend. What was this supposed to mean? Compensation? An apology? It was always like this. I blocked Marcus, packed my luggage, and broke the necklace he had given me. Martha, the housekeeper, stood awkwardly by the stairs. "Miss Grace, how many days will you be gone this time?" I glanced at her, saying faintly, "I'm not coming back. Thank you for taking care of me all these years." Martha stood stunned for a long time, then said from the doorway, "Then I wish you a safe journey." I looked at the garden full of jasmine flowers. Suddenly, I felt a little lost. Marcus had planted these flowers for me. I ran into the garden, tearing up all the flowers, my fingers filled with soil and broken petals. After doing all that, I grabbed my suitcase, hailed a taxi outside, and left without looking back. I watched the mansion flash past the car window, the flowers in the yard sprawled crookedly in the mud. I had lived here for 4 years. On the day I graduated from college, Marcus personally carried my luggage up, piece by piece. "It's fine, I have plenty of rooms," he said, masking my embarrassment at the time with a casual smile. When wanted to love someone, he knew better than anyone how to treat them well. He filled the yard with jasmine flowers, telling me it would be my home from then on. He also got half his shoulder drenched to hold an umbrella for me during a storm. But now, it was all over. That day, I booked a plane ticket to Maple. It was where I grew up, my cherished hometown. Arriving at the airport that evening, my best friend Chloe came to pick me up. She came over with huge dark circles under her eyes. "You've finally come to your senses. What good is that man besides having some money?" I gently poked her forehead. "Didn't I tell you not to come pick me up? Your dark circles are almost bigger than your eyes." Chloe laughed and collapsed onto me. "How could I do that? How could I let you go home alone? I was temporarily staying with CH. Low, planning to look at houses nearby and find a new job." Chloe worked as a director for a reality TV show, and they were currently planning a new dating reality show. She had been coming home early and leaving late these past few days, and progress didn't seem to be going smoothly. One day she called me, a miserable wail echoing through the phone. Grace, help me. What's wrong? What happened?" I asked anxiously. Her voice was on the verge of breaking. "I left a document at home and I need it urgently. If you're not busy, could you bring it over?" "Okay, send me the address. I'll be right over." After hanging up, I messaged the realtor and rescheduled my house viewing for tomorrow. The reality TV show set was huge, and I got lost. Fortunately, I met a kind person on the way who led me there. He had a refined appearance and spoke gently. We chatted briefly on the way. It turned out he was one of the male guests on the dating reality show, a lawyer. We arrived at the office. The meeting hadn't started yet. However, I didn't understand why the production team was looking at me with such fervent gazes. That evening, Chloe plopped down on the sofa. "Grace, save my life again." She pulled out the reality TV show contract and handed it to me. I wanted to refuse. She quickly said, "The paycheck isn't high, but it's not bad either. It's perfect for a transition period, and you get to chat with lots of handsome guys. Two birds with one stone." I smiled helplessly, "But I'm not really ready to date right now. The show won't force you into a relationship. Just get to know each other naturally. Think of it as a fun experience. There are plenty of men better than Marcus in this world." I hesitated and nodded. "All right then." For I had never faced so many cameras before. I felt awkward and uneasy during the initial filming. Daniel swapped seats with someone, sitting next to me and winking. "It's okay, don't be scared." I returned his smile. Perhaps it was because we had spoken before. Having a familiar person nearby made me feel more at ease. On the first day of partner selection, I wrote down Daniel's name without hesitation. I was too nervous. I could barely match the faces to the names of the others. During the first phase of filming, I was with Daniel almost the entire time. He was thoughtful in his actions, gentle in personality, and conversation with him never felt pressured. A few days later, another female guest chose him for the next day's date. A hint of awkwardness appeared on Daniel's face, and he smiled apologetically at her. "I'm really sorry, but I already have someone in mind." I nervously clutched the note in my palm. Afraid of facing such embarrassment, I lowered my head, not daring to look up. A pair of white sneakers stopped in front of me. "I wonder if I have the honor of taking Miss Grace on a date tomorrow?" I looked up, stunned. The house where we were filming had terrible soundproofing. I could hear Chloe scream from the control room. I smiled and took his hand. Of course. If I had known then that Daniel's planned date activity was skydiving, I definitely wouldn't have agreed so readily. I clung tightly to his hand, my body trembling from the wind rushing in. Daniel patted my shoulder reassuringly. "If you're really severely afraid of heights, we can try something else." "I'm not afraid of heights, just a little afraid of weightlessness," I said softly. "I am sensitive and insecure, afraid of many things beyond my control. That's why I had been entangled with Marcus year after year, yet never had the courage to leave." His voice gently fell into my ear. "When I was a child, I was very afraid of heights. I didn't dare ride the cable car, nor did I dare look down when climbing a mountain. Then, one time on a cable car, I tried to open my eyes. The sun slowly set from the sky, casting a golden glow on the mountains. That's when I realized I had missed so many beautiful sights." I looked into his deep eyes. Enveloped by the twilight he spoke of, a great surge of courage rose within my heart. I said, "I want to try." Standing at the cabin door, I saw the bottomless clouds, and fear spread through me again. The howling wind constantly blew past, and my palms felt cold. I closed my eyes. A warm touch suddenly covered the back of my hand. His voice was soft yet strong. "Don't be scared, I'm here." My body trembled, and I jumped. Wind and clouds rushed past me, and below lay land, mountains, the world. A vast world unfolded before my eyes. I was so stunned by the scenery that my mouth fell open. After landing, Daniel waited below for me, stepping forward to give me a hug. I asked with a smile, "Aren't you jumping?" "Next time. I hope to share your joy on your first skydiving experience," he said. I was still somewhat excited. It was amazing. I've never felt so free. In the vast world, people are so small. In the moment of freefall, human emotions and grievances didn't matter. 5. The dating reality show concluded the first half of filming, allowing guests 1 to 2 weeks of rest as needed. Back home, Chloe grabbed my shoulders. "I'm hooked, I'm truly hooked." I looked her up and down, bewildered. "Hooked on what?" Chloe rolled her eyes. "Try to pretend for another second, will you?" I smiled helplessly. She leaned into me. "Do you really not feel anything for Daniel?" I recalled the warmth of his hand when we went skydiving that day. Finally, Marcus's image appeared in my mind. "I don't know. I don't think I'm ready to start a new relationship yet." "What preparation do you need for that?" Chloe pinched my face. "If you feel something, go for it. An end is an end. Are you going to stay loyal to Marcus forever?" I rolled my eyes. "No, it's not that. I just feel it's unfair to anyone to rush into a relationship so carelessly." Chloe gazed into my eyes and was silent for a moment. "Okay, but I still hope you don't overthink things. No matter how far you and Daniel go, I hope you can truly enjoy this relationship. You know, when I saw you smile again in the control room, I was so happy for you. I haven't seen your genuine smile in a long time." I paused, subconsciously touching my face. It seemed true. In the past 2 years, the frequency of arguments with Marcus had increased, and it felt like I hadn't genuinely smiled in ages. A few minutes later, I received a phone call from Marcus's childhood friend, Leo. Leo asked, "Marcus said you weren't satisfied with the ring, Grace. Can you tell me your requirements so I can redesign it according to your ideas?" I interrupted him. "No need. It's not that I'm not satisfied, it's that I don't need it anymore." Leo didn't react immediately. "Marcus didn't say you bought another ring." I chuckled. "It's not that I don't want the ring, it's that I don't want Marcus anymore." Then I hung up the phone. In the mansion, Marcus's face grew darker and darker. Leo looked at the darkened phone screen and sighed. "I'm telling you, Marcus, you've really gone too far this time. The first time you abandoned Grace at the engagement party was embarrassing enough. Now you've done it a second time. What kind of girl could stand that?" Marcus sat on the sofa, his face cold, saying nothing. Leo kindly advised, "Why don't you call her and apologize? Grace cares about you so much, a call would surely calm her down." Marcus glanced at him, scoffing. "Apologize? When have I, Marcus, ever apologized to anyone? If she can't stand it, she can leave. I've already explained, Eleanor wasn't feeling well, and I would be back after taking her to the hospital. What more does she want?" Leo let out a short, helpless laugh. Even he didn't dare say much when it came to Eleanor. He looked at the design sketch. "So what about this design?" "Grace said she doesn't want it." Marcus's face was grim. He took the design sketch. "If she doesn't want it, throw it away. Trying to blackmail me by running away from home? Impossible." He silently went upstairs and stood on the balcony. This was Grace's favorite spot at home. Marcus snorted. "I'll see how long this tantrum lasts." 6. That evening, Daniel sent a message. "Are you free tomorrow? There's a Sichuan cuisine restaurant in Times. I heard the food is pretty good." I looked at the message screen, slightly lost in thought. A few minutes later, I hesitated before replying. "Isn't there no filming these days?" He sent a voice message. His voice, laced with a smile, was gentle. "I want to ask you out myself. No production team, no cameras, just the two of us. Just the two of us." His magnetic voice brushed my ear, vibrating with my heartbeat. I said, "Okay." The restaurant wasn't too crowded. Daniel sat by the window, waving to me. He handed me the menu. "I heard you like spicy food." I checked a few Yelp reviews and asked some friends. They said this place is good. I looked up and asked, "Who told you?" He rarely showed any nervousness. I asked director. "If you feel offended, I apologize first." "Not at all. I should be thanking you. I haven't had Sichuan cuisine in a long time." He looked at me intently but didn't ask anything, just said, "Then eat plenty today." I smiled. "Okay. I preferred strong flavors, but Marcus couldn't handle spicy food. For all those years, I had always accommodated him. This restaurant's food was delicious, flavorful, and richly spicy. I ate heartily, and within minutes, sweat beaded on my nose. Thinking of how I had given up these delicious foods for Marcus over the past few years, I suddenly felt it was not worth it. My parents died young, and perhaps because I hadn't felt much love growing up, I wanted to hold on to what little love I had. But if the heart's not in it, love can't flourish. It had been so long since I'd had Sichuan cuisine that I got carried away, forgetting everything else. When I looked up in the middle of the meal, I looked at Daniel and suddenly froze. His lips were swollen from the spice, his eyes red, and he had unknowingly finished 2 large glasses of cold drink next to him. He waved to the waiter and ordered another glass of water. I asked, stunned, "You can't eat spicy food, so why did you book a Sichuan restaurant?" "I hoped you would like it." His voice was hoarse from the spice. I quickly asked the waiter for a bottle of milk. Cold drinks are slow to help. "Try this." If you had told me earlier, I definitely wouldn't have come. He drank most of the bottle of milk, and his complexion finally eased. "That's why I didn't tell you." I was exasperated and laughed. "You don't have to accommodate me." Daniel shook his head helplessly. "Sensitivity to spice can be improved, a few more times and it'll be fine. In the future, you can join me for mild food, and I can join you for Sichuan cuisine." I was a bit speechless. He looked at me and asked, "Did you enjoy your meal?" I nodded, "Yes." "That's good. Nothing else matters." 7 That night, Daniel and I kissed for the first time. He tentatively bit my lower lip, our breaths intertwining. Hiss, my teeth grazed my tongue, and I gasped. Daniel quickly apologized. "Sorry, I didn't mean to." The words came out, sounding a bit awkward. I looked at him, and as he frowned, I kissed him again. The collar of his usually neat and proper jacket got messed up by my grip. A certain unspoken emotion deepened in Daniel's eyes as he looked at me. The moonlight was bright, casting a mesmerizing glow. He said in a hoarse voice, "I'll take you home." I gazed intently into his eyes, which were even softer than the moon, and pressed a kiss to his forehead. On the way back, I chuckled. If the production team knew we made such a big leap in our relationship behind their backs, they'd probably go crazy. He winked at me. "Then I'll have to trouble Ms. Grace to act along with me." 8 Leo was very satisfied with the ring design, and coincidentally, a couple liked it and didn't mind its origin. On the day the rings were finished, he posted on his social media post, wishing the couple well. I liked the post. A few minutes later, Marcus commented below, "Who told you to sell the ring?" Leo replied, "Didn't you tell me to throw it away?" Marcus stood on the second-floor balcony of his house, sending a message to Leo to come over. An hour later, Leo appeared at the mansion. "Neither of you wanted it, so why shouldn't I sell it? And the couple doesn't even mind, so what's there for you to mind?" Marcus's face grew darker and darker. "My ring, even if it's thrown away, it's still mine, understand?" Leo was also speechless. "Marcus, you can't be so unreasonable." Marcus snorted, "Is this your first day knowing me? Haven't you realized I've always been this way? Anyway, I've already sold the ring. Either you pay the penalty for breach of contract on my behalf." Leo rolled his eyes. "Knowing you is my misfortune." Marcus swiped his phone a couple of times, transferred. The two were silent for a moment. He spoke faintly, "Has contacted you recently?" "No, I haven't contacted her since that day. I heard someone spotted her in Maple." Marcus suddenly coughed twice, his voice low and hoarse. "She'd better never come back." Leo asked, "Have a cold? Have you seen a doctor?" Marcus's face was cold. "No need for the fuss, just a slight cold." After speaking, Marcus coughed heavily again. Leo quickly asked, "Haven't you taken medicine?" "Martha is on leave, I don't know where she put it," he said indifferently. Leo thought for a moment, then called me, "Grace, where are the medicines at home?" I was silent for a while. "Don't call me that. Marcus and I broke up." He gave an awkward laugh. Marcus is sick. Why don't you come back and check on him when you have time?" The air was still for a long time. As if to prove it, Marcus coughed sharply twice. He frowned and turned to look. I said coldly, "I'm not a doctor, what's there to see? The medicine is in the coffee table cabinet in the living room. If it's really bad, go to the hospital. Why call me? Don't contact me about his affairs again, or I'll block you too." With that, I didn't give him time and immediately hung up. Marcus's face was extremely grim. Leo stammered, trying to make small talk, "Looks like Grace hasn't cooled down yet." Marcus's expression was gloomy. "How many days has it been? Is she never going to let it go? I told you to apologize ages ago, but you didn't listen. Now look, if Grace really never comes back, I'll see you." "Shut up," Marcus interrupted him, as if he couldn't bear to hear any more. "It was like this last time too. She'll come back." 9 Daniel sat across from me. "Ex-boyfriend?" "Yes, we just broke up recently," I said, looking down, my voice faint. He chuckled, looks like I'm very lucky, my timing is impeccable. I paused, huh? See, I happened to meet you right after your breakup. If it had been earlier, wouldn't I have had no chance? Daniel raised an eyebrow at me. Tomorrow, the production team will have partners reselect each other. Pay attention then. For the new round of filming, the production team would ask guests to provide elements or keywords for blind selection. This was to allow for more variations in pairings and greater possibilities for the show's filming. The production team specifically notified us in advance not to cheat, and I wondered how he would convey information to me in front of dozens of cameras. The next day, male and female guests filmed separately. Daniel merely gave me a reassuring look, doing nothing else. I was completely confused, until pinned the photos to the board for the female guests to choose. I looked at the Sichuan cuisine picture and suddenly understood. Daniel and I successfully chose each other, while the other groups were all split up. I covered my mic and leaned closer to him, whispering, "So, highly educated Daniel, you cheat too, huh?" He leaned in, his eyes full of laughter. I couldn't help it. I didn't want to be paired with anyone else, so I had to use every trick in the book. I raised my hand, forming a gun shape. "Tell me, what did you bribe director with?" He curled his lips into a smile, making a gesture of surrender. "Cross my heart, nothing at all. I don't believe you. I'll ask Chloe later." 10 Daniel took me hiking. When the director heard the idea, he immediately rejected it, and even Chloe said, "It's too old-fashioned. Come up with something fresh." I quietly raised my hand. "I think it sounds interesting." So, we actually were driven to the base of the mountain early the next morning. Daniel took my hand and we got into the cable car. His hand shielded the back of my head to prevent me from bumping it. The sun had just risen. The morning sunlight was dazzling and brilliant, merging with the dew in the mountains to create a beautiful, shimmering light. I exclaimed, "It's so beautiful." After taking the cable car to halfway up the mountain, we had to climb the rest of the way together. He handed me a hiking pole. "If you can't go on, tell me right away." I smiled and nodded, "Okay." I had been exercising before, so hiking wasn't difficult for me. We only rested for 10 minutes and reached the summit before noon. It was a bit cold on the mountain. Daniel took my cold hand and tucked it into his pocket. "Are you tired?" I shook my head, pointing down the mountain. "Not really. The view is worth it." He sighed in relief. "That's good. I was a bit worried before we came." I asked, puzzled. "Worried about what?" Daniel awkwardly rubbed his nose. "I was worried you'd get too tired from hiking, and also worried you'd find it boring." I shook my head. "No, not at all. When I was little, I always wanted to come hiking with my family, but I never had the chance. Later, they passed away in an accident, and I never came again." This mountain was quite famous, with many visitors on holidays. I had lived in Maple for 18 years but had never been here. Sorrow flickered in his eyes as Daniel tightened his grip on my hand. "I'm sorry, I brought up a painful memory for you." I frowned and tapped his forehead twice with my index finger. "Why are you always apologizing at every turn?" "It's nothing, I don't even care. And I'm really happy today, you don't need to be so cautious all the time." He raised his hand and playfully tapped my nose. "Precisely because you don't care, I want to think more for you. But since you said so, I'll be bolder in the future." I raised an eyebrow. "How do you plan to be bolder?" Daniel's palm gently rested on the back of my head. He leaned in and kissed my lips. That was his answer. 11 The diamond-studded ring sparkled under the lights. Leo's craftsmanship was indeed excellent. Marcus paid double the penalty for breach of contract to get the pair of rings back. The couple was initially very angry, but after receiving the penalty fee, Leo also promised to custom-make a new pair of wedding rings and offered an 80% discount. They accepted the terms. Marcus covered the difference in price, and Leo sent him a fist bump emoji after receiving the 7-figure transfer. It had always been like this. 4. Nothing money couldn't solve. But was different. She never asked him for money or expensive gifts. Every luxury item he brought home was casually tossed aside, perhaps on a cabinet or on the sofa. Instead, a handmade necklace he received as a gift from a partner during an overseas business trip years ago was something she always wore close to her body. Marcus thought Grace had taken that necklace with her. So, he always believed Grace would come back. But this morning, he suddenly saw the necklace on a cabinet at home. The red cord was broken, lying on the wooden cabinet, undiscovered for over a month. He suddenly panicked. Grace was truly giving up on him. Marcus clumsily used glue to piece the cord back together, bit by bit, but he couldn't restore it to its original state. The cord bent stiffly in sections. He took a photo, intending G to send it to Grace, but then realized he was blocked. Marcus clutched the colorful gemstone, his palm aching from the sharp edges, but he refused to let go. Just then, his phone rang. Caller ID showed, Eleanor. This was the first time he didn't want to answer Eleanor's call. 12 Marcus drank all night and was woken up by a call from Leo in the morning, saying in a hoarse voice, "You'd better have something urgent." Leo paused. "You've been drinking? Never mind then, I'll tell you when you're sober." Marcus impatiently sat up, rubbing his temples. "Stop being so cryptic, just say it." "Well, Grace seems to have joined a dating reality show." Marcus's brow twitched, his voice growing even hoarser. "A dating reality show?" Leo stammered. "It's a show where a few single men and women meet and interact, like a matchmaking reality TV show." "You don't need to explain, I know," Marcus scoffed. "Fine, Grace, you've really become something." "Marcus, don't worry too much. These shows usually have a script, and many people are just acting. Grace might just be going for the fun of it." Marcus grunted in response and hung up the phone. He stood there lost in thought for a long time. When he finally came to his senses, he pulled out his phone and searched for the show Leo mentioned. The first episode had just aired. Grace was introverted and not good at expressing herself among strangers, always shrinking into a corner. But she seemed very familiar with that lawyer. When she encountered a difficult problem, she would instinctively cast a pleading look at him. And he, in turn, seemed to take great care of her. The two had indeed successfully chosen each other. Grace smiled. Marcus suddenly realized he hadn't seen Grace smile so genuinely in a long time. In the next episode's preview, Grace tightly held the lawyer's hand before skydiving, almost clinging to him. Marcus looked down at the necklace he had gripped tightly in his palm all night and smashed it. The gemstone hit the corner of the table and shattered into pieces. 13 Marcus changed his phone number and tried to contact Grace again. This time, the call connected. Hearing her voice again, Marcus even felt like he was dreaming. "Hello? Who is this?" she asked. Marcus felt a lump in his throat, unsure what to say. Then a clear male voice sounded from her end. "What's wrong? Who's calling?" Marcus froze. He recognized it. It was the lawyer's voice. Grace laughed. "I don't know, probably a wrong number." "Hey, stop it." The other person did something, and Grace laughed very happily. The lawyer's voice also carried a smile, "Not focusing on our date. I'm going to get angry. Stop it, I'll hang up right away and come back to you, okay?" Marcus had never heard Grace's voice sound so soft, like she was pouting, and also coaxing someone. It grounded his heart, a dull ache with every beat. "Hello, who is this? If you don't speak, I'm hanging up." Marcus called out in a hoarse voice, "Grace." The other end suddenly went silent. 2 seconds later, they hung up. 14 Marcus was still unwilling to give up. He used his connections to get the filming schedule for the show. This was their last recording. Most people would be hard to see again after the show ended. He believed this was his last chance. Marcus pushed aside all his work and booked a plane ticket to Maple. Before boarding, Eleanor called again. "Marcus, my stomach ache has started again. Can you take me to the hospital?" Marcus's brow furrowed, and he said with some difficulty, "Eleanor, I need to find Grace." There was a moment of silence on the other end. "Does it have to be today? But I'm really not feeling well." "Call a taxi, or anyone else. Why does it have to be me to take you?" For the first time, Marcus questioned Eleanor's request. She clearly hadn't expected it, and when she spoke again, her voice had a tearful quality. "Marcus, don't do this to me." He gritted his teeth, took a deep breath. "Eleanor, don't call me again." Marcus hung up the phone and boarded the plane. He rushed there as fast as he could, arriving at the venue after dark, just as filming was about to end. Marcus, dressed in a sharp suit, sprinted. Following the staff's directions, he ran towards the swimming pool in the yard. Suddenly, a dull thud echoed in the distance. Clusters of fireworks burst into bloom in the sky. Marcus's steps slowed. The people opposite were clustered together, erupting in chirping happily and cheers. He felt a little afraid to face it for the first time, but still walked forward. He saw the lawyer kneeling on one knee, holding a ring, asking Grace, "Will you marry me?" Another firework exploded. Grace, her face streaked with tears, nodded. The lawyer placed the ring on her finger, and the two embraced tightly. The man made his promise, "I will cherish you for the rest of my life." 15 When proposed to me, my first reaction was a sense of resistance. I remembered the unpleasant past. By my count, this was the third time I had been proposed to. Daniel sensed my hesitation and gently said to me, "It's okay, just follow your heart. Even if you don't say yes, I will still love you." My love for you has nothing to do with whether you are my wife, because you are Grace. Tears immediately streamed down my face. How could I punish Daniel for someone else's mistakes? I thought, it's just a proposal. Why shouldn't I be brave one more time? What did it matter if the outcome wasn't perfect? Having gone through 2 engagement parties alone, what more could I possibly be afraid of? Tearfully, I nodded and accepted his proposal. Under the moonlight and fireworks, we embraced and kissed. Chloe cried, tears streaming down her face. Daniel, if you ever treat Grace badly, I swear I'll make you regret it. Daniel vowed to me, I will cherish you for the rest of my life. We wrapped up filming. I clutched Daniel's hand. Though the show was over, our future was just beginning. As the scene broke up, I saw Marcus's standing under the lights. He looked haggard, his clothes disheveled from running, his hair damp with sweat. I almost didn't recognize him, the usually formidable Marcus. Marcus forced a smile that was more like a grimace. Grace, will you come home with me? Daniel stepped in front of me. I squeezed Daniel's hand lightly to reassure him, then looked at Marcus coldly. What home? My home is in Maple. Sorrow flickered in his eyes. Eleanor called me when I was on my way, but I rejected her. I won't contact her again. I know I made you angry. Please give me another chance, okay? Leo almost sold the ring he designed for you, but I bought it back. I still think this ring suits you best. The necklace I gave you broke somehow, but luckily I managed to glue it back together. It's not as pretty as it used to be, but it's okay. When I go on my next business trip, I'll make you another one. If you're willing, we could go tomorrow and… Marcus, as you can see, he's my fiancé now. Please don't come looking for me anymore. I flashed the ring on my finger. His face drained of color. Why? How is he better than me? I leaned gently against Daniel. In many ways, and he wouldn't abandon me alone at an engagement party like you did. Marcus staggered. He opened his mouth, but couldn't say a thing. 16 Daniel and I walked away, holding hands, bathed in moonlight. As we rounded the corner, I saw Marcus still standing there, his shadow stretched long under the lights. He looked utterly desolate. I only spared him a glance, offering no more attention. I remembered the day Daniel and I went skydiving. I had missed out on so much because of him, which made me even more determined to cherish the people and experiences worth having in front of me now. Smiling, I slumped against Daniel. He staggered for a moment, but quickly steadied me. Walk properly, don't fall. I only mess around like this because I know you'll catch me, I said with a grin. Daniel gently flicked my nose. Oh, you. We walked a bit further. Daniel, I called out to him. His eyes crinkled with a smile as he patiently responded, yes? Wrapping my arms around his neck, I kissed him on the lips. I love you so much. 2 years later, Daniel and I had a destination wedding. Lush forests and vast grasslands stretched out before us as I walked towards Daniel in my wedding dress. He slipped the ring onto my finger, his hands trembling. I reassuringly squeezed his hand. Don't be nervous. Daniel leaned in close to my ear, a hint of helplessness in his voice. I'm so nervous. I'm afraid it's all a dream, and I'll wake up to find you gone. Smiling, I kissed him. Does it still feel unreal now? He shook his head and kissed me again. Many years later, I would look back. I still remember how blue the sky was that day, how soft the grass felt, and even the birds flying by seemed to be chirping happily, sending us their blessings. Amidst the most beautiful scenery, we promised each other our lives. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section, so feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.